Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another movie review. This is an anime movie review. If you have not checked out the amazing anime series, Blue Lock, it is high octane, amazing animation, very ambitious, very competitive, but all inspiring in its own right. We've already got an official review for that up if you want to go and check that out, but I would highly recommend you go and check it out before you go and check out this amazing movie in Blue Lock, the movie episode Nagi. So the background of it is you've got a main character as far as the series in Isagi. Isagi is, an inspiring striker on his own team, and he gets invited to this Blue Lock to test their ambition and their drive and their egos to see who can be the best striker by any means necessary. And of course, along the way, there's going to be a lot of blood, sweat, tears, and also crushing of dreams, because anybody that doesn't make it through Blue Lock is officially banned from being able to be on a huge high end level for the Japanese team. So, this movie, the background of it, is talking around one of the characters that is probably, I would say, I would equate him to be one of the most natural, gifted players in this universe in Nagi. Nagi, he's got reflexes like no other. And on top of that, he works with somebody that is kind of like his best friend in Rio. And Rio noticed him one day and saw the a capability of this man, and he was like, "We are going to be the best of the best. Period. There's no one that's going to be able to stop us, and all you have to do is just listen to me." And so the interesting thing about Nagi, he doesn't like to hassle. He doesn't like to push himself. And I think one of the things that you see in the beginning of this movie is you get to see their humble beginnings. You get to see how they came to be, how they started. We got a smaller reflection of that with certain episodes in the first season, but we really get an intimate understanding of the depths of their relationship, what drives both of them on an individual basis. Because even though this is a Nagi based movie, it's very much so is Rio, because their drive is intertwined. Because Rio, is, a privileged person. He's born from a lot of wealth, but he saw something that he wanted to do for himself that doesn't require something that he can just grab and attain. And he saw somebody like Nagi, and it inspired him, like, okay, maybe this is something, this dream is attainable, and I'm gonna have to work for it. And so Nagi is the complete opposite. Nagi is just like, wants to play his video games, could care less. And just all of a sudden, this guy is just like, hey, you want to play soccer? I think you're going to be really good at it. And it turns to them going down this road of like, man, they are really good and they work really good. And all Nagi has to do is just listen to Rio. Of course, progressionally, if you look at the first season, you know that things change very quickly, but it doesn't stop the foundation of who they are. And the thing I'll say about this movie, I honestly felt like this was going to be kind of unnecessary. Like, I was interested in kind of a little bit of the backstory, but I didn't know they feel so much in the gaps. One of the things I love about the My Hero Academia movies is that they fill in gaps in between. It doesn't just feel like filler. It feels like, this is a intimate step in progression. One thing I'll say up front, and I meant to say this very early on, I apologize for wasting so much time. Make sure you watch until the end of the credits. There are 3 end credit scenes. There's an initial end credit scene. There's another one after all the credits roll, and then there's one more after that. It's like, watch every bit of the credits. If for whatever reason you're in a theater and somebody, like, they turn the lights on, tell everybody around you, sit down and wait, because there are some serious serious implications to these credits. And if you've seen the first season, you know how the first season kind of goes. It means so much more. The thing I'll say as far as the tag along with this, if you are a lover of the Blue Lock first season, which I am, you have to watch this movie. Like, this is perfect for you. If you've never seen Blue Lock, I think you'll get inspired by what you're seeing in this. But there are certain threads in this movie that are missed. There's a certain part in the back half of the first season of interaction between Rio and Nagi during some terrible circumstances that wasn't put in this movie. And I'm glad it is, because it adds more context to certain characters, especially even certain interactions in this. There are certain matches in this that are not in the first seasons, which is cool. But if you've never seen Blue Lock, I think you wouldn't understand the full depths of it. Much like kind of how I watch Haiku, I can imagine there are certain concepts and themes that I missed because I hadn't seen Haiku that I was like, oh man, I wish I would have known. But the thing I'll say is that the first season is a very quick watch. You can blow through it very quickly, and you're gonna love every single second of it. And I think that they ramped up in terms of animation and thrill with this. Like, I mean, not to say that the first season didn't have good animation. It was probably one of the better animated series that I've seen last year. But this is so hype. It adds so much value to certain characters, and it elevates the story ultimately, in my personal opinion. Because arguably, if you look at Nagi as a character, if you had to make a comparison to him in terms of like basketball, for instance, he's like honestly a young Michael Jordan that's in, I don't know, he's in Carolina, and he's about to go into the NBA, and you don't really understand the levels of what his capability is because he hasn't even tapped into that yet. And I think that's the most interesting thing. And it's kind of like, if you look at Rio, I mean, you would equate him to maybe being like a, Scottie Pippen to Michael Jordan. Absolutely. But the funny thing about it is if you've watched the first season, and then even in this movie, there's a character in this that is kind of the main front runner character. And if I made a comparison to him, and that's Isagi, I would imagine him to be kind of like a Steph Curry, like the person that you never would think, and you see them progress to be something very different. And I think that just watching those different paradigms, and I think that again, there are moments of very emotional weight in the series. And I think that if you watch the series and then watch this, I think you're gonna feel the weight so much more. But in this, it still works very good for the relationship of Nagi and Rio. And I think that there are certain contexts that I didn't get in the first season that I get from this. So I think that they work symbiotically. This is the first anime film that I've seen in a very long time that I feel like you have to partner these together. Like, honestly, I was sitting there while I was watching this, I was like, man, I wish they would take a different rendition of the first season and add all these in between pockets, even though, it's not Isagi as the main character. Like, put these pockets in and just let me watch it all the way through, because this is so good. This is such a good anime movie. I think the only thing that I'll detract from it is in the beginning of it, I kind of was like a little put off because I was like, I know where we're going with this, and it seemed like it was just going to be telegraphed, but it progressed well. By the time I get to the second act and to the third act, I was so excited, and it was like I fell in love with the show all over again. I'd rest this at a 9 out of 10. Highly recommend you go and check out Blue Lock, the first season, and also go and check out this amazing film, because Nagi is not to be checked. You're gonna be like, who is this man? But yeah, go and check it out as soon as you can. I will let you guys know that if you're kind of like, if I watch the first season to watch this movie, do I have to wait for 2 years for the second season? Just so you know, the second season is dropping officially this October, I believe. Hopefully I got that right. I think October 2024, I believe, is when the second season of Blue Lock is returning. So you don't have much time to wait. And I think this is a good little hash in between that time. So go and check it out. Go check out the first season of Blue Lock. Go check this movie out and wait for October to begin. I'll talk to you guys soon. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell button. Thank you guys so much for watching on all our social platforms as well. Peace, people.
Falling out the top of
I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline.